Good evening and welcome to the Arts and Cultural Commission meeting on this day of April 20th, 2016. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and my name is Helen Dickerson. And Kathy, can we have a roll call this evening?
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Gibson?
Here.
Chairperson Dickerson?
Here.
Commissioner Kane?
Here.
Commissioner Rooney?
Here.
All right, I'd like to get a motion to approve our agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as written.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is passed. We need a motion for the approval of the minutes of March 16th, the work study, as well as the regular meeting minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of March 16th for both the work study and the regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion is passed. All right, we have very exciting news tonight. We are very happy to introduce and welcome one of our new commissioners, and this is Jody Rooney, pardon me. And we welcome you, and we'd like you to share with us a little bit about yourself and what brings you to this volunteer position.
Thank you, Chairperson. I appreciate that. I'm Jody Rooney. I've been a resident of Prescott Valley for almost 10 years here. I enjoy this community, love this community. I'm a businesswoman with extensive government background, experience in the performing arts, definitely involved and saturated in the arts. And so I'm just happy to be part of this commission today as we're moving forward into the future. I see the performing arts as an element of economic development. And we have some opportunities here. We can peel back the layers of the onion. And we have a lot of people that come and visit. Sometimes they come and they want to stay. And art is part of that. So I appreciate being part of this commission. Thank you.
Well, we welcome you. Thank you. We also are very honored tonight to have a wonderful guest artist. And Larry, help me with your last name. Walter Starff. Thank you. And what do you have to share with us tonight?
Well, I'm a wood carver, and it's, just something that I started off whittling as a kid. Oh, okay. And about 8 years old when I got my first pocket knife. Now they call them weapons, but back then they called them tools. And for years I made pointed sticks, so you could roast marshmallows and so on, and a lot of wood chips for the fire. And then one day I was hunting, and there was nothing to shoot, and there was a guy sawing wood. And I asked him for a chunk of wood. And he said, "What are you going to do with it?" And I says, "Well, I'm going to carve it." And I'd never carved anything before, and I found out that where I lived, carving tools were not available. So I used lathe tools, chisels and so on and so forth, and I carved a head. It took me about 10 years. Wow. And I learned some very valuable lessons. One, green wood carves easy. Hard rock maple, as it ages, gets really hard. But it was fun. The difference between a whittler and a wood carver is very simple. It's the number of tools that you have. A whittler uses a knife, and basically that's all they use. A wood carver uses knives, gouges, chisels, chainsaws, everything short of dynamite to do what they have to do. In the Tri-City area, we have two good-sized carving groups. Each one is about between 30 and 40 people. One meets at St. Luke's Episcopal Church on Ruger Road and 89, which is just north of the airport. And they meet the second and fourth Saturdays of the month. Unless the church has something planned, then we meet at other times. The other group meets at the Orchard Ranch RV Park, right here just down the road in, I don't know if it's Dewey, Prescott Valley. It's right on the corner.
Yeah.
But it's they're kind enough that they've allowed us to do it there for several years. Both both groups have all levels of carving. When I say all levels, I'm talking from people that don't have a clue what they're doing when they come in to really expert carvers. And they're all willing to help people that don't have a clue. We have a chant that's called round it, round it, round it, because you start off with a block of wood, it's square generally, or rectangle, and no matter what you do to it, unless you round it, it looks like a block of wood. So it's important. When I said we have all skill levels and people of different interests, we have chip carvers. Chip carvers do very intricate designs. Some do on icicles, some do on plates and bowls and so on. Just different patterns. We have bark carvers that carve. We have one guy who carves faces, and you would think that they're going to start talking to you. Cottonwood bark is a fun medium to work with. It's very forgiving. It's very soft. It crumbles on occasion, so you think you got a nose over here, but it ends up over there, and so on. We have character carvers, and if you've seen the display here in the library, some of the types of carvings and character carvers that people do. There's two ways. You can either use your own designs, or you can find other people's designs and modify them for your purposes. We have relief carvers. Relief carvers basically will take a block of wood and carve a picture. And it's either in shallow relief or deep relief, and the definition answers itself. The deeper you go, it's deep relief. If it's just on the surface, it's shallow relief. Some carve spoons, some carve bowls, some carves themselves on occasion. We have a special award for that. It's called the Bloody Thumb Award. And we find that a lot of people don't like that award for some reason.
Why?
Some new walking sticks, canes, Santa Clauses, whatever you feel like doing. And some people do a wide variety because it's fun. And it keeps us out of the bars. Carvers are only limited, like any type of sculpture, to their imagination. They can do whatever they want, and you just have to learn to read the wood because it's like stone. You cannot force something. You have to work with the medium to get your goals. A lot of people tell me, oh, I don't have the patience for that, or I can't draw a straight line. Well, one, if you say you can't do it, you're right. You'll never do it. If you say you can't draw a straight line, I can't draw a straight line. I know what a ruler looks like. With carving, sculpture, what you're doing is looking for what's in the medium and bringing it out. So you just carve until you find it, and sometimes it ain't there. Sometimes you got a nice kindling for your fireplace. The people carving does not require drawing ability because you're removing. If you work with wood, stone, you're removing to find the object. If you're working with clay or wax, you're adding to it to make the object. If you're a painter or an illustrator, what you're doing is very simple. You're using shading and shadows to accomplish your goals. So they're all different, but there's a lot of similarities. As an example, if you're looking for perspective, if you're doing a relief carving, it's very simple, but you got to understand the perspective because all of a sudden when you're looking at it, you go, oh, that's not right. Because the roof is going one way and the chimney's going another, and so on. I was going to say you're only limited by your imagination. And it's fun. Each discipline has its own tricks. I make mostly canes because years ago my mother-in-law needed a cane desperately, but she kept saying, I'm not old enough. So I made her a queen for a day was an oak stick with acorns and vines and leaves and so on. And then I put a brass fennel on it. And then I put a big antique purple doorknob on it, glass doorknob. She loved it. But after about 2 weeks, she said to me, she said, Larry, could you make something a little lighter? She was only 5'10" and 90 pounds. Excuse me, 4'10", not 5'10". 4'10". The woods that I use are mostly hardwoods. I use maple, walnut, oak, myrtle wood, some exotic woods like lace wood or marble wood, mahogany and rosewood. Each of these woods has its own characteristics. Some have a very open, coarse grain, and others have a smooth, tight grain. You gotta have sharp tools. A dull tool will get you every time because it's going to skip on the wood, and generally speaking, when it skips, you're going to be in the way. So you learn.
Yeah.
People ask me, is that a hardwood or is that a softwood? Now, this is where it gets confusing because the definition between hardwoods and softwoods is very simple. Hardwoods have leaves and they lose them once a year. Softwoods keep their needles or their leaves. So if you look at it, fir, which we have a lot of here in Arizona, is a softwood, but it's miserable to carve because the grain is so aggressive. Balsa wood, which they make model airplanes and stuff out of, you can crush in your hand, and it's a hardwood. So when people say that, it's like saying, what kind of gum are you chewing? Doesn't mean anything. Most wood carvers like to use northern basswood. Basswood is a hardwood, but it's got a very nice grain, smooth and easy to carve. You get a nice piece of basswood, it's like cutting butter. So it's fun to use. It takes detail well. I also belong to another club besides the two I've already mentioned, and that's the American National Cane Club. And the reason they're out of Pennsylvania. By definition, that's what they do. They make canes. But one of the things that we do is we make canes for disabled veterans. And those we all donate. And what we try and do is put their service, where they served, the rank, where they were in the military, battles that they were in, and so on and so forth. And it's kind of fun because you get to talk to them and you find out what they went through. And I did one for a guy, unfortunately he since has passed on, but his daughter called me up and she said, could you make 2 more of those canes? And I said, I don't want to, but why? And she says, well, my brothers and I are fighting over who gets Papa's cane. So I ended up making 2 more. It was fun, you know. I've done it for every branch of service except the Coast Guard so far. As I said earlier, carving is a very simple thing. We had a man, if you ever go to Charlotte Hall at the Folk Fair, and he would carve sweet potatoes or yams. He'd carve faces, and then you dry them, and they get all gnarly and twisted, so you really had to exaggerate in the beginning. And this man came up, and he said, wow, what kind of wood is that? And Jerry said, well, that's yam wood. And the guy says, yam wood? Where do you get yam wood? Jerry says, well, generally at Walmart for about 99 cents a pound. So it was kind of fun. Anyway, if you can peel a potato, you can learn how to carve. So, any questions?
We'd like you to share some of the pieces you brought with you.
Okay, how would you like me to do that? Just pick them up?
Yeah,
Hold them up,
pick them up
the
and they'll
cameraman will
film
get you.
Well, I brought 3 knives to just give you an example. Okay. Basically, I brought a V-gouge, and they're all sharp, and you can notice I got very expensive knife
Covers,
ends.
yeah.
Those are known as flip-flops for 99 cents.
What a great idea.
And you notice that the blade is a little flexible. And the reason for that is that when you're in there carving, you can kind of use it as a scoop. And the last one I brought is a gouge. Gouges work best if you go across the grain rather than with the grain. The only thing you have to remember is don't bury the wings. Because if you bury the wings, what happens is you start tearing the wood. So that's basically very, very simple. When I said marble wood, that's what this is. The handle is marble wood. And it's very appropriately named. It's, after you carve one, you say, I'm not going to do that.
Show us the pattern on that cane. What did you do there?
Okay, this is very simple. You wrap it with masking tape. You go around one way, and then you come back and you go the other way. Then you draw your lines, and you label them over, under. And then you just carve it out.
Wow.
Very nice.
It's a very, it looks nice, but it's a very simple design. I brought some little figures here. I couldn't find any of my Santas, but I call these my no-see-ums.
Oh.
Because they don't have eyes.
Right.
And I always tell people that this is great when I do carve Santa Clauses, because he doesn't know if you're naughty or nice.
Yes.
And this one is
Wow.
This is lizards, and the handle is tamarind, and it's called a derby handle. It's a very comfortable handle. I never knew how comfortable a cane could be until I started making them with a derby handle. I need a cane, and it doesn't press into your hand and hurt. This shaft is hard rock maple. So I didn't learn my lesson on that first carving.
Sure didn't.
That's gorgeous.
This is hard rock maple and tamarind again. And it's just drill holes, and you just draw your pattern. And then my dad used to carve leather. And when he died, I inherited his tools. And I used leather stamps for the background. So it's just one of those fun things. This cane is maple, black walnut, and the handle is maple. It's a maple burl. And again, I drilled it out. I didn't want to get carried away with too big a hole because you lose the integrity of the wood. Right. And then I just drew the design and carved it out. It's fun. When I say I do canes for veterans, this was my wife's uncle, and he was one of the first in the 442nd Nisi Battalion, World War II. He went in as a private. He was the first Japanese to get a battlefield commission. He was a prisoner of war 4 times. And I said, how can you be a prisoner of war 4 times? And he said, well, I couldn't convince him that I was German. And then the rest of these are just little character studies, that fit on the refrigerator. And people get offended because I got a cigar in his mouth. But that's what characters do.
That's right.
This is a little bear with a bottle stopper. You drink wine. Keeps your wine fresh. And that's just a little... This one is carved out of sugar pine. The characters are all carved out of basswood. And except for this one, I went to, Michael's, I think, and they had little eggs. And I thought, well, that'd be fun to carve. So I carved a little guy, And then we have a group in Cottonwood as well that we don't belong to, but we correspond and talk to each other and visit each other. And there's a guy over there who makes these vases. And so he gave me a couple, the rough outs, and then everyone puts flowers in them. I said, well, I think I'm going to put cattails. So you can do whatever you want. That's the fun part. Other questions?
No. Do you sell your art?
Very seldom. Part of the problem is that, like if you go down to the craft fair on the square, I would have to sell 5 canes, 6 canes before I'd...
Right.
Break even.
And that's just, that's a couple months worth of work.
Right.
Yeah.
So I donate a lot of them. All of my veteran canes I donate. And I do that for two reasons. One, I appreciate the veterans. I am one. And two, it's just the right thing to do.
That's right.
You know?
Well, thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome.
For everything. Beautiful art.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Public art display artists. Nancy, do you have a report on that?
Well, I just want to once again invite all of the people who are involved in some form of artwork, artists out in our community and beyond, to apply to for displaying your artwork here in the library. The displays rotate every 30 or 60 days, and if you call the Parks and Recreation at 759-3090, you can ask for Mary Lou Arnold, and she will set you up with applications for you to submit. And if you're accepted, you'll have your artwork on display here. And we would love to see what all of our citizens who are artists can do. Please submit. That's how Larry came.
Right.
So,
thank you, Nancy. I'm also very excited to announce one of our first warm season performances on Theater on the Green, this beautiful amphitheater we have available for all the members of Prescott Valley to come out. On Thursday, May 12th, the Bradshaw Mountain High School concert band will be performing under the direction of Christopher Tenney. And folks, if you have not heard any of the bands from Bradshaw, I promise you an outstanding performance, a great time, beautiful weather. Bring your blanket, bring some dinner, and enjoy the music put on by the youth of our area that will really actually blow your socks off. They just do not sound like amateurs at all. So come out, and that again, mark on your calendars, is May 12th, Thursday night.
time.
The time on that, I believe, is at 5:30. Yes, 5:30, and I think it will go probably close to 7 o'clock. So perfect for a dinner outing, free for the family. Kids can run around on the grass. All right, and Brian, do you have our director's report?
Yes, ma'am. I have really nothing in addition to add to my department or my report or the department's report as a whole. We'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission may have individually of mine or the department's.
No questions.
None at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll move right into our old business, Family Arts Festival recap. We did hold our 13th annual Family Arts Festival. We had fantastic weather. It was wonderful to see all the families out and enjoying the festivities. And we hope to make next year's even bigger and better, and are going to be working closely with the local schools in hopes to continue to promote the arts in our community, the Youth Art Month and celebration. Frankie, do you have some info on movie Under the Stars?
I do. It's almost that time again for our movies Under the Stars. We know that many of you have come out and supported us over the years, and we're looking forward to seeing you again this year. We've increased the number of nights that we'll be doing movies, and we're extremely excited about seeing you out with your children and your popcorn, and we have concessions there for you, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful family night once again. Free. 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 So we are in need of several other sponsors. We have most of our sponsors in place, but we have about 2 slots remaining. So if you're interested in becoming a sponsor for one of our movie nights, please feel free to give us a call at 928-759-3090. We'd love to have you. You can promote your business. And it's a wonderful opportunity. It's very well attended. And it's a wonderful opportunity to let the community know what you're doing. So once again, if you'd like to be a sponsor for one of our movie nights, please give us a call at 928-759-3090. And looking forward to seeing all of you as we kick off with our first movie in June.
Thank you. Gotta love free movies.
We do. And I'm actually going to sneak something in. We're going to start on the last Thursday of May.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're going to sneak in a little extra on there. So,
which is great because a lot of the schools get out the week before. So parents looking for something free to do.
Without a doubt. So, and yes, and we're continuing throughout the month of June. Therefore, everyone can have a ton of fun starting off their summertime.
Excellent. New business. Art at the Center sculpture display. New installations?
Yes, we're very excited. We have some new pieces coming on loan to us. They'll be installed next week. One of the selections is from an artist, Gary Slater from Mesa, and it'll be out here outside of the University Center, the College Center. Beautiful pieces. We encourage you to come out and see those. And there's another one from Mr. Caston. I can't remember his first name.
Ken
Caston. Should remember that. That'll be down in the area of the patio. A very colorful metal contemporary abstract display. So look forward to having those with us, and we will be featuring those at our Art at the Center reception in June. So we'll update you further on that. End of term sculptures. Brian, would you please address that?
Very happy to. We have a couple of pieces that will be terming out this year, and we'd like to celebrate those fine artists that have been with us. We have a piece by, of course, now I'm drawing blanks, titled Game and Fish.
Richard Field.
Mr. Fields, thank you. That will be leaving our complex. That particular piece was an entry feature to the Yavapai University complex. So we thank Mr. Fields for his participation. He has a continuing piece that will remain with us. We also had a couple of cast bronze pieces that was titled The Huntress and then also Jete. And Commissioner Smith, would your memory serve you better than mine in regards to that particular artist?
Roy LaRue was the artist.
Yes, Mr. LaRue. So we thank him. He had been with us for a 3-year term. Fantastic pieces that he had there remaining with us. And then also a piece of sculpture called Stages. That is being replaced by Mr. Caston's piece that it was down on the first floor patio just outside the Civic Center. So we thank Miss McNamara for her help through that process. And she's very excited. I believe she has a couple of more pieces that she will submit for next year's program that she would like us to consider in doing that. So we celebrate each of those artists with their participation. And we look forward again to celebrating them, highlighting them, as well as our new artists that will be coming in June during the Art at the Center reception. In addition to that, we have a couple of new pieces that will be added to this year's permanent collection. We're very thankful and grateful to Mr. Russ Moronic, Mr. Russ Moronic. There you go. I'm getting that out correctly. He has donated 2 of his sandstone pieces, and based upon the program development that is a vision of the Arts and Culture Commission of putting community art into the community, those 2 particular pieces will be placed at a couple of our neighborhood parks. The first will be located in Viewpoint Park, and the second will be placed at Antelope Park with its new development and expansion that we have out there. Great introduction pieces that will be available to folks. The piece at Antelope will be directly located across from Coyote Springs Elementary, so the young people will be able to interact with it directly. And then at Viewpoint, as we well know, there's a number of different community tournaments and youth organizations. That is a high-use park location. And so those folks can, again, publicly see the value that the town of Prescott Valley places on public art and that engagement process. So we're very thankful to Russ and his wife for consideration of allowing their pieces to remain with us. Also, in addition to that, we were successful in negotiations with the artist Barbara Brown and Douglas the Dragon. Douglas will remain with us as a part of our permanent collection as well. And the one caveat that Ms. Brown asked is that the art remain with us on the second floor in the library where he currently exists today. So we'll work to enhance his exhibit, but have him prominently placed right there so all the children can come up, rub his nose, and say hi to the little dragonfly visiting on his finger. So we're very excited about that and having those three new pieces added to our permanent collection.
Excellent. Thank you. Our next work study meeting will be May 11th.
Actually, staff would, this was a staff-initiated action requirement or action request. We would like to retract that based upon our engagement during work study session. And we'll plan that meeting accordingly with our partners on that particular event so that we can receive further direction and then bring back to the commission for their review and consideration in moving the event forward. If that's acceptable, we would like to retract the May 11th request for a work study so that we can develop those meetings and then come back and present.
I'll make a motion that we retract the May 11th meeting.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's passed. Any unscheduled public appearances? It doesn't look like we have any this evening. I would like to announce then our next meeting will be Wednesday, May 18th, 2016, here in the auditorium at 5:30. Our regular meeting will follow at 6:30, and that is May 18th. We thank you so much for tuning in and hope that you continue to come out and support the arts, which make all communities a stronger and better place to live. This meeting is adjourned.